DNS Live. I don't know what the weather's like where you guys are, but we've been dealing with a little bit of rain here in Texas. It's been a little crazy. We were off last week. We took a little bit of a break to take care of some stuff, and we are back tonight. We're going to start finishing up. We've actually got probably tonight and maybe next week to finish up the investigation series. So tonight we're going to have some fun. We've got Jason Black on from TextPart, and Jason is also an NPS rep. He was with us on our last investigation, a client investigation, and we have permission from our client to be able to show some stuff tonight. So you guys are going to see what it's like to review audio and video information. So when we left off last time, we were looking at pictures. I think we went over pictures pretty well. If not, you guys can message me on the DNS page or find me on NPS and we can go over some stuff. You can also go out to the NPS website and look under the photography tab, and a lot of that information is there. As we begin to launch Project Endeavor, which is due to be out, we were hoping the middle of July. It's going to be the end of July. You guys will see the education tab come alive on the NPS website, and you'll have some more information there too. So, again, if you've got pictures that you've got some questions about looking at, let me know. You can send them to the NPS photo team, and we'll take a look at them as well. But if you're wanting to debunk on your own, your best bet is to look at the NPS website under photography. So we are done with pictures. I'm taking off the photo department chair hat, and we're going to move forward. So without saying anything else, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to kind of turn it over to Jason, I guess, a little bit tonight. Jason's going to be our MC, I guess you could say, for the night, and kind of go over in audio and video type stuff. Jason, why don't you kind of tell everybody a little bit about yourself? You missed being a rep when we had everybody on DNS Live to kind of tell about themselves. So why don't you go ahead and kind of tell people about yourself and your background?
Oh, well, okay. Well, my background, as far as my background in paranormal, I've had experiences ever since I was, probably a teenager. Biggest experience I ever had was back in 97. About 2 months after my grandmother passed, she actually appeared to me, plain as day, in my bedroom and told me everything was okay and vanished in front of my eyes. And from that point on, I started doing more research about everything, and it wasn't until maybe about 4 years ago when I actually started getting involved in investigating. Joined a couple groups. I'm originally from Houston, so I was living there. And when I moved up here to Dallas, I pretty much found some new groups, and of course I met you, Sheri, and joined the TextPart Paranormal team, and been going ever since. So that's kind of my background.
And then what else do you do for NPS?
I'm the department chair for the Ghost and Hauntings department, which I'm happy to accept that position that was just recently named. So hoping to get that department up and going really well, fairly quickly. And just, of course, being a rep and doing the whole MTS thing.
Doing the job that should pay.
Yeah, right.
Oh my gosh, what a mess. So we're going to look at a couple of things tonight. I know Jason and I went over what we're going to be looking at tonight. What you're going to see is some stuff from one of his investigations, and then you're going to see stuff from one of our investigations that we did together. And we're just going to kind of look at, audio and video and what, software to use, what to look at, how to use it, how to listen for things, how to debunk certain things, and that type of thing. So Jason, I'm not sure if you want to start with the audio or video first, but I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Okay. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Let's start with some video first. Excuse me here. I'm dual monitoring here, so I'm going back and forth. Let's start with the video. Actually, Sheri, this is a video clip from our last investigation that we did. That your client has so graciously given us permission to use some of this. I'm going to move my camera. I'm pointing over at my other monitor. Now,
just so you know, because we are broadcasting the show live and through Skype, and we don't have a mic set up on Jason's computer, you're not going to hear everything as clear as you would if we had pre-sent everything. You know, it happens. It's live TV. So you guys will at least be able to see the video and get the gist for reviewing. You're not going to be able to...
Fortunately, this video actually does not have any audio.
So we're good there.
But I do want to play this video.
This was our favorite orb video.
There are actually lots of orbs in this video.
That's how we know what dust looks like on film. In this place that we went to, guys, it was built in the 1800s. So very old, very dusty. Those are definitely dust particles and not orbs.
Yeah, definitely dust particles. You can tell by this is when we were setting up the DVR system, the cameras. And so there were two people up there setting up this camera, and with them moving around, stirred up a lot of dust. And that's actually what you see. As far as video, that's really the only real clip I really wanted to show. Yes, I think it was. Yeah, that's really the only clip I wanted to show as far as video.
Video is kind of straightforward, though. I mean, it's a matter of...
It really is very straightforward. This is actually here. I'll put another one up. This is actually a video. There's nothing going on. It's just a plain dark room. The actual footage was pretty bad with this camera for some reason. That's pretty much all there is to it. What a lot of people don't realize is when we do these investigations and we set up DVR systems, we had this DVR system had 5 cameras. 2 of the cameras actually had audio capability, and we were actually able to capture a couple audio clips on this DVR footage. We had the DVR recording for, what was it, close to about 6 hours, wasn't it, Sheri?
It was a good while. It wasn't
so
one
talking
of...
5.
It's good.
So you're talking 5 cameras times 6 hours. That's 30 hours of footage. Most of that, the majority of that, is going to be watching an empty hallway, empty bedroom, staring at a blank wall, watching paint dry.
Yeah, it's not very fun. It's not very glamorous.
It is very tedious. It's very boring very quickly. So that's, I mean, as far as the video goes, that's pretty much all there is to it. Video is pretty self-explanatory.
For somebody that's starting out, Jason, and they've bought a system, kind of explain to them, when you get the system, it's going to come with its own software to look at and that type of thing.
Yes, because actually I'm dealing with that. The DVR system I used was actually brand new. This was the first investigation I used it on. I'm still learning this system. I've been playing around with it at home. But when we set this thing up and we were recording, when I got back a few days later and was trying to pull off all of the recordings to put them onto the computer, it was pretty difficult. For some reason, I didn't know how the whole system worked, so I didn't have the settings correctly set. So it actually chopped 6 hours per each camera of video into tiny clips. For the one on one channel, one camera, there was 168 clips total for 6 hours of video.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. You have to learn the settings. It takes a while to learn, but once you figure it out, which I think I finally have, it's actually pretty easy to use.
Well, and every system's going to be different. So it's just a matter of, becoming familiar with your DVR system. Unless you've got something like our TriCam. That's a whole other monster.
I don't even want to go there.
Yeah, we have such an old TriCam, y'all, that it has its own physical hard drive in it, and I cannot wait to upgrade to the new one with just an SD card, where all I'm having to do is mess with something like this instead of something that's a lot bigger. So I can't wait for that.
It's like an ancient hard drive almost.
You know what? I have one of the first TriCams ever built, y'all. I have the dinosaurs, what I like to refer to it as. Hey, Jason, there's a question in the chat room. When cropping and cutting video to share, how long should the clips be? Yeah, it probably is gas-powered. TriCam.
I would say, if you captured something that you think is significant, whether it's audio or something you think is a shadow, I would probably clip at least 10 seconds before, 10 seconds after.
Just to make sure you get it all.
Yeah, just to make sure you get it all, and also so you kind of have something to explain what it's going into the actual whatever it is you captured.
Now, if you're going to do something for a client, there's some teams that will actually take it into something like, I don't know, Microsoft Movie, and they will do like a whole introduction and tell you what you're about to hear or what you're about to see. Do you recommend doing that?
Actually, I would. If you have the time, I would kind of recommend doing something more of like a video presentation with Movie Maker or something, where you can explain what was going on at that moment during the investigation and show the clip. So yeah, I would recommend it if you have the time. I know a lot of groups and a lot of people I have talked to don't have the time to do it.
Yeah, that becomes a big thing.
Fortunately for me right now, I actually have time to sit here and watch 30 hours of video, which I'm still not done with.
That's a lot of work. And that doesn't even include, and we'll get to that in a minute, all the audio pieces.
Right. Audio's an even bigger animal, if you ask me.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's ideal. We talk about showing our clients evidence. We talk about pictures a lot on NPS, but we don't talk a whole lot about audio and video. And I think video is key a lot of times for our clients to see what's really going on in their house, because you may capture, they may think they're having all of this activity and so forth, and you may actually capture a mouse or a bug going across the floor,
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's really important to be able to show them, I'm kind of a little more anal and a little bit more on the graphics side of things where, I'll add in the pieces and stuff. I might show you just the raw clip and then point stuff out, especially if it's something that's going to be obvious so that they understand, here's what happened. You've got this AC vent that's blowing here that blew this and made you feel like the door was shut by something when it was really just a vent or, whatever. I think that's kind of key. And I think we owe it to our clients to show them how we have debunked things or how we feel like we need to come back for another investigation.
Oh, absolutely. So with all of that said on video, why don't we go ahead and move to audio?
I've got fun stuff.
Audio is actually, I do have a background in audio-visual, so I have some experience. I'm a musician as well, so I do have experience with recording live and studio recording. So audio is kind of one of my fortes. So I'm actually trying to locate an audio clip that I forgot to put in my program here.
He's been so busy viewing video.
Dude, I've been busy doing everything all day today.
I hear ya. It's been a crazy day. We'll probably talk more about that on NPS Focus, but it's been a crazy day.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to review some audio. We're going to start. First off, I'm using a program called Cool Edit Pro. I personally like the program. Unfortunately, the program is no longer available. The company that made it stopped making it. You cannot get updates for it, anything like that. So, with that being said, I have been trying to switch to Audacity, but I don't like it as much. But I guess I'll have to figure that out.
Yeah, visually they look different. Isn't that what we determined, that it was more of a visual adjustment more than anything? Because both programs do the same thing, right?
Both programs do pretty much the same thing. They do have their differences. One will do one thing that the other won't do, and vice versa. For the most part, yes, they are going to be about the same. They are audio editing software. For Cool Edit Pro, when you load your clip into program, it's going to come up looking like this. You have your top channel, your left and your right. I'm going to play this clip. I don't know if it's going to come through very well, but I'm happy down here. I'm happy with us. We make it mad. Yes. Oh. You want us to... Okay, I don't know how clear that was.
So kind of tell everybody what that was and then play it again.
That was an open house investigation I did at Old Yoakum Hospital in Yoakum, Texas. I was actually using, and I know we've had this debate on NPS. I was actually using an app on my phone called Ghost Radar. Ghost Radar has a built-in Ovilus, and we were in the basement of the hospital. The Ovilus said unhappy. So we asked questions. Are you unhappy down here? Are you unhappy with us? Another guy asked, are we making you mad? The Ovilus came back with a direct response saying yes. Again, it was with an app. Don't know how credible that is, but it
fit.
It definitely fit. So that was pretty much that one.
And that one was pretty clear to hear because you were utilizing the Ovilus or a device.
Yes.
For the information piece.
The other clip I have, I doubt it's going to come. The audio is going to come through. I can give it a try. So I'm going to go to that one. And go ahead and play. It's a very short clip. again, this is what at that same investigation. One of the guys there was feeling a tingle on his arm, and he was talking about it, and a whispered voice comes through and says, "That's me."
Yeah, that one was real light.
Yeah. So with that, I will actually go into some of what we were talking about last week when you and I had gotten together. Mm-hmm. This is actually a full 22-minute video or audio clip that is showing on screen. One thing you can do with this program is you can stretch it out. You can stretch it out to the point to where when you play the clip, it will actually flow along. You can more follow along with what it's actually doing.
Well, and that's good for if you think you hear something and you need to go straight to it.
Yeah, you can expand it. I mean, you can expand it so much to where you're actually catching or being able to recognize the waveforms themselves. That can be helpful if you think you've caught something, because not only when you're playing and listening to these, not only are you listening, you're watching for these waveforms, watching for these big spikes that are in the waveforms that might show that you have something.
Now, is there any pattern to those? Like for people that are watching and just starting out, we kind of know what the higher peaks are versus the lower ones. So can you kind of explain that just real quick? Because to me it seems like the deeper, well, not the deeper voices, but more of the human voices have a taller line, where when we're starting to hear EVPs and it's not as loud, they get to be a little smaller.
Yes, human voices, loud bangs, any loud noises that you have during investigation, footsteps, walking around. One thing I always, and I'm very careful about trying to do this on investigations. When you have a recorder rolling, if you're holding it in your hand and you're moving it around, it catches every little bitty sound and movement in your hand. What I typically try to do, and I don't have my recorder available, I'll just use this little remote here. I usually, because actually this is about the same size as my recorder. Mm-hmm. I usually try to hold my recorder just like this in my hand. And I'm doing, especially if I'm doing a burst session, that way you're not moving it around, you're not fiddling with it, it's not picking up any of these sounds that your fingers are making. Hold it between your fingers like this on the sides, and you won't have that problem.
Like me putting mine in the pocket at the graveyard, and I'm like, why do I keep hearing, oh yeah?
I don't know why you did that.
I think it's because I had, well, what was I carrying? I had something else in my hand that I was using, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to put this in my pocket. And then all of a sudden, and Jason's kind of like me, we listen live, so we use our headphones as we're recording, and I can hear stuff, and I'm like, what am I? Oh yeah, I put my recorder in my pocket.
I am trying to come up with, I'm actually trying to come up with a way to be able to hold multiple devices at once.
That would be nice.
I've got some ideas that I'm trying to work on.
Well, my new backpack came in yesterday, so I'm going to go get all my mole straps put on it, and then I'm going to try to figure out how to get my recorder a little closer to me so I don't have to worry about it so much.
Yeah, I have one bag, a little shoulder bag that actually has a pocket on the strap, is a little pocket, and I've tried putting my recorder in there, and I still get a lot of movement noises.
Yeah, because you still have it rubbing against stuff. Because I've got one, well, my other sling bag had a pocket. It's actually for a cell phone. And it just seems like it's either muffled or you get too much interference on it. And so Deegan likes, like his vest, he has a piece of Velcro on the back of his recorder, and he just sticks it straight on his chest.
That's one option that I'm looking at, actually.
It's being called a device bag and not a man purse in the chat room.
That's right. I don't carry a purse.
It's a man pouch.
As far as audio, I mean, I could show a lot more. Of course, we didn't realize it was going to have this kind of an issue with the audio sound coming through in the show. I will play this one. I do want to show this one a little bit. I'm going to kind of angle it here so I might be able to pick it up a little bit better. I don't know if you could hear that.
Yeah, I remember this one.
We actually caught two voices, or what we think. One says Adam, and the other one says culprit.
You can help. Culprit.
Now, that is actually from the actual original clip. All I did was cropped it for that one section. Now, what I've done on a second clip is the same thing. I've gone in and have actually added gone into the effects on the program, and in the noise reduction filter, I did a hiss reduction, which reduces the ambient hiss that you get when you use any recorder. So when I do that, it will actually comes up a little bit clearer. You don't have all of that staticky hiss that going on in the background.
Well, and for us, it made a world of difference when we were listening to stuff because we could clarify stuff with that.
Yeah, you can actually clarify stuff. A lot of times that I'm finding a lot of times that ambient hiss that just is general frequencies in the air that's being picked up by the recorders. Mm-hmm. A lot of that plays a big part in what we are hearing.
Well, it also removes a lot when you start listening to EVPs.
Yes. One thing I've actually been doing this week, I have been going through some EVPs that I have from past investigations over the last 3 or 4 years, and have been using the hiss reduction and the noise reduction features, and have been able to really clarify that we have captured something or didn't. A lot of times that hiss, that ambient hiss that is captured in the recorder, I can't think of a better word to use than your favorite one, Sheri. Pareidolia.
Yep.
It's pareidolia for the ears. They make you think you hear something that you actually didn't hear.
Well, and that's kind of why we have to take out the hiss reduction too, because I mean, even when we were listening to some of our clips, we were kind of like, did you hear that? Did you hear that? And then as we started kind of reducing it, it started going away, and we realized it was background noise.
Yeah. A lot of times you do get the background noise. And like I said, it creates pareidolia for your ears.
Mm-hmm. So there's a question in the chat room about how long should the audio clips be?
I would say for a client investigation, I would probably do anywhere from 20 to 30, maybe 35 seconds.
And that's on what all you've captured, or?
That depends on what all you've captured. For example, the one we had that says Adam and culprit, they were so close together that it can really be could probably be shortened. We did capture. I think you and I went over one where we captured one that there was a female moan, mm-hmm. and then what we thought somebody said change, and then about 5 or 6 seconds later, there was a yes. Something like that. I would say, that happened over probably about 10 seconds. So I would say at least flip it to maybe 10 to 15 seconds before the first one, and let it go through maybe 5 seconds after the last one.
Enough where you can actually play it back to your client and hear the question that was asked or the response that the EVP was to you.
Yes. Also gives you a chance to, if you go back to it at a later time, you will actually hear either the question or some of the maybe conversation that was going on before, and it will remind you of what was going on at that time.
Now, on something like that, we were talking about the video clips, and putting that on and having some, graphic stuff to it, some text and stuff. On the audio files, would you just play them for your client, not even worry about putting them on like a CD or something for them to have? Would you just play it, or would you, kind of hand your client a whole CD with the audio and the video?
I would probably hand my client a CD with audio and video clips, for them to keep for their records, for their knowledge of what we captured. If they happen to have somebody else come in and do an investigation, they can say, well, this group came in and this is what they found. These were some of the video and audio that they've captured. So that kind of gives maybe another group some history to go on, something to go on as well.
Well, and I was just thinking, we were talking about Microsoft Movie, and, I've just started using it and playing with it some more, and I just kind of wonder, when I worked for the Cowboys, we used to do marketing presentations and do recaps for our sponsors at the end of the year, and I would put that all on a DVD, but I had somebody that actually created it for me, and so I was just thinking, for my clients, it might be nice to make them a whole, movie that says, okay, from beginning to end of our investigation, here's what we found. So we had this video clip that happened, at this time, and then we found this audio clip, just kind of walk them through the night of the investigation. I just don't know how long. I guess it would depend on how much you found, how long your movie would be, and how much your CD could hold. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You kind of mentioned that, and I'm kind of thinking, editing everything together as in, somewhat of maybe like a TV show type format.
Yeah, not necessarily like a PowerPoint that plays. I could do PowerPoints all day long, but I'm thinking,
one video, one 15, 20-minute video that has everything edited into it that has been captured.
Because in that way, I mean, when you're done talking to your client, they're going to forget something. So it would be nice to be able, if I were your client and you leave, I might be like, okay, what did they capture again? You can put the CD in, and it's kind of self-explanatory walking through it.
That also, I'll show you another thing that I do. When I am listening to my audio and video, I do a Word document.
Mm-hmm.
I document everything that I hear or that I see. I usually put the file name of the video or audio clip, the total runtime of that clip, which recorder or which camera it came from, and then I will mark down the timestamp of everything that I hear or see for each piece of audio or video clip. I could also, you could give the client the total unedited video clip, and along with this document, this is what I've captured, and they can pull the whole thing up, and they can go to that spot that you've marked and hear it for themselves.
Yep. Well, and I like the idea that you do that. It reminds me of when we used to do public investigations with TGS, and we used to we literally would take a notepad and we would draw lines, and we would say, okay, man command station, when you see something, write down the camera, write down the time, and write down what you saw, because that's what's going to help us when we review to go back to see stuff. And that's what I like. And I'm a logger anyway. You know me, I like lists and stuff. So I like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. Surprised I did not. I actually did have a pen and pad out at Command Center during that investigation, but no one was really back there kind of manning it. So
it's it's ideal for when you do stuff, but it doesn't always happen that way. And that's kind of, I mean, me, I'm kind of like, if you don't see me write it down or make a note, I forget. So that's why I always have two recorders sometimes, because I'll have one that'll be like, oh yeah, note to self, I saw or I heard during this time, because I don't always carry a pen and paper. And when you're investigating in the dark, it's kind of hard to be in the investigation and doing your stuff and have it to stop, think about your thoughts, and write it down on a sheet of paper too. So for me, it's easier just to say it.
One thing I do try to do, I kind of forget when you start getting into the investigation and you're really going with it and you just kind of forget things. A lot of times when I have my recorder rolling, got my headphones on, if I think of something, hear something, see something, or something I just want to make note of, I'll say it so that it's on the recorder.
Well, it's kind of like you heard me when we were out at the cemetery. I was like, note to self.
Yeah, note to self.
Like, this isn't anything else, but note to self.
I think, what was it? Well, about 3 weeks or so ago, when we went out to one of the cemeteries, and there was that weekend there was fireworks going off.
Yeah.
I had to make a note on the recorder saying, note, all of that popping and noise going off is fireworks.
Well, and you have to do that. And, it's kind of like, well, Saturday night we're out at the graveyard and you and I are talking and we're talking about the equipment, and then you hear the EVP right over your voice, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. And that's why I like to do live EVP listening, because I want to hear it when it happens, so you can stop, ask questions, and address it instead of waiting till you get home and being like, oh, crap.
Yeah. Have you reviewed that one yet?
I haven't even had time to sit down and review it yet. You know me, I get like,
yeah, I know.
But you know what? I'm not going to, I'm going to have some free time coming up the next couple of weeks. I might actually take it to work and listen to it instead of listening to music at work.
There you go.
Double duty.
That'll work.
There you go. Something.
So that's really all I have as far as audio video review.
Well, and it's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's not like photography where you have to really look at it and compare it to stuff. I mean, audio video, you either see it or you hear it, and you have to go back and check and see, see who else was in the room, see who else was with you, double check voices, that type of thing. To me, it's almost easier to debunk audio and video than it is actual pictures. Because pictures, somebody can relax.
I had an investigation I did with TextPart not too long ago. It was an outdoor investigation, and I captured something on the recorder that when I listened to it through the program, just in regular real time, it sounded like growling. I was actually able to pull up Audacity. Audacity does have a feature where you can stretch and slow down or speed up the clip. I was able to put it in Audacity and stretch it. That's when I realized it was not growling, it was a motorcycle.
It wasn't your stomach, because you were a good boy and you ate before you went to go investigate.
Ate before investigation. Actually, we had Red Lobster before that investigation.
Oh, well, it could have been your tummy. Depending on what you ate, could have been that tummy.
No, that's why I don't eat Taco Bell before an investigation.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's a big no-no. You guys have to pay attention to that kind of stuff, too. But, I think it's... That is one thing... That is one thing when I go on investigation, I make sure I eat before, but I know what foods will aggravate my stomach, so I will try to avoid those. I might eat something bland, and I always bring along like some chips or crackers or something that is bland that won't upset my stomach, because you don't want to hear that during an investigation. No. And always drink water. You guys, sometimes just having some water, your body's just hydrated and you think you're hungry, and it will settle your stomach. Because a lot of times, even your stomach gurgles when it's processing food, and just drinking some water, just from a health aspect, drinking some water will help as well. So always, always, always. We went out with, 9 bottles of water the other night. We still had plenty of water left. But it's better to have more than
I drank 2 bottles.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you have to. You definitely have to. So, okay, if people are looking to find Audacity because your other software is not available anymore, is that something they can just download for free somewhere? And are there certain sites to be aware of for malware and viruses?
Jason,
I can see your lips. I can't hear you. What happened to his mic?
I don't know.
Jason, what are you jacking with over there? Talk about audio. He clicked on something. Be back.
Let me call you back, Jason, real quick.
Live TV, guys, you gotta like it, especially when we're talking about audio. That's awesome. Maybe we don't need to be talking about Audacity, Jason.
Oh,
see, we're still not hearing
don't have it. Go to your tools on Skype.
Bear with us, guys, as we get through this. got to be something with the microphone setting.
Is that better?
There you go.
Yes.
All right, I got it.
Much better. I guess, was that a hint at not to talk about Audacity?
I have no idea.
So if they're looking for it,
you can download, or you can download Audacity for free. If you Google search Audacity, AUDACITY, you can find it through Google. Download it for free.
Just beware of where you download it from, because that's how I got a virus on my computer last year.
Yes, that is very true.
The other one that people like to use is WavePad, but I know I've seen more complaints, I think, with WavePad than Audacity. And I think, a lot of it goes for personal preference as well as to what people want to use.
Maybe a year ago or so, I downloaded WavePad, installed it, pulled up one file, and closed it out and uninstalled. I didn't like it. Immediately.
Yeah, I think it's a personal preference. Shannon's in the chat room saying WavePad's way better than Audacity. So I think it's really a personal preference. They both do the same thing.
It is a personal preference.
Can I chime in on that? Because I do use WavePad, and I have quite a bit of experience reviewing them. The biggest difference between Audacity and WavePad, and WavePad does not have a lot of bells and whistles that Audacity does. It does less. They both will show your waveform. They'll both give a sound footprint. They both do a lot of stuff, but Audacity does more in an editing way, whereas WavePad is more strictly for review.
That makes sense.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I guess, Eric, still with WavePad, you can still do your editing and your heading of your certain slices and stuff like that too, right?
Oh yeah. You can still do all of that, and I spent the $45 and got the pro version of WavePad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that way I don't have to worry. I get updates, blah 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 blah. But like I said, it doesn't do as much editing. So, but to me, that's a good thing, because you don't want the ability to change levels and volumes. If you have to do all of that to pull something out, it's probably not there to begin with. It probably falls under that pareidolia.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I agree with Jason. I might remove his, maybe, but that's about the only algorithm type thing that I'll allow the program to do.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So I think, again, it's going to go back to a personal preference, what people are comfortable using, what you're going to want to use it for. It sounds like what you had for starting out is probably going to be something that's good for the beginning investigator. And if that's what you prefer and you want to use, then great. If you want to start out with Audacity and that's what you get used to, then, you can use that as well.
Yeah.
With you like Cool Edit Pro, and that's something that you've kind of started off with and gotten used to. So I think it's really going to be a lot about personal preference.
Yeah, it really is. If you can find Cool Edit Pro anywhere, I would suggest getting it, trying it out, see how you like it. Personally, I prefer it over the others. So.
Well, and I think there's probably also YouTube videos on how to use it and work it and that as well, too. So people can check that out before they download one, or download all three and see which one you like better.
Yeah. And, there are I'm sure there are probably a lot more other audio editing softwares. I do know there are some of the more professional audio recording softwares that you can also do pretty kind of the same thing with. I don't know if I would go so far as to purchasing one of those. Those are pretty pricey. If you can get something for free or lower cost, that'd be the best way to go.
Well, and we don't get paid for what we do, so free's always good.
Exactly.
It's always good. All right, well, we got a few minutes left here. Kind of, what would you've kind of been paying attention to the whole investigation series that we've been doing. Kind of what are some of your pointers that you would share that maybe I haven't covered, or that, you kind of pops up in your head that, you might want to share with somebody that's just starting out, or somebody that's kind of trying to fine tune their investigation skills?
You've pretty much pointed on everything I would. One thing I would say when you're, especially for recordings and videos, learn everybody's voice that is with you.
Yep.
I had the investigation we did. I had something that I thought was something, and when I played it for you, you were like, "Oh, that's Deegan."
Yeah, it's like
you heard like a split second of it. That's Deegan. Okay, that explains it. I didn't know how Deegan's voice sounds on a recorder.
Yeah, well, and and that's kind of one thing that we didn't do for the video portion, that we do for the audio a lot, is we talk about tagging. We talked about that when we were talking about doing your EVP work. That's why it's so important to tag, because you've got to know, A, who's with you and what their voice sounds like. I know Deegan's voice. It's so distinct to me that I can be like, yeah, that's Dee.
Yeah. That's really the only other thing I can really think of.
Well, we'll wrap up the show, and we'll wrap up this series next week. We're going to try to go through the client reveal process. I was hoping to have the actual client reveal from our client that we were showing some stuff from tonight, but we're still trying to get her scheduled. So that may not happen, but we will go through the client reveal process, and then we'll do a real quick kind of review wrap-up of everything. And then, Jason, it's going to be on us to start coming up with some live investigations to start showing people. We've kind of started doing some stuff and coming up with some experiments to show you guys and that type of thing. So, we're going to kick it off. I've got one guest in between we're going to have, and she'll be on in 2 weeks just to kind of talk about some fun stuff she's got going on. She's from a very popular location, so you guys will like that. I'll tell you some more about that as we get to it. But then after that, we're going all live, so you guys will get to see how we work and kind of how we put all this stuff into play. Well, Jason, I want to thank you for staying on. I know we've done a lot of work on this and doing some review and working on our cases, so I really appreciate all your effort. I do want to, before we get into sponsors, TextPart has an event coming up on July 26th.
Yes,
you want to talk about that?
Yes, we have an event on Saturday, July 26th, and again on Saturday, August 2nd. We're doing a dinner and a ghost hunt at the Pantry Restaurant in downtown McKinney. It's $20 a person, plus whatever your meal costs. You can go find TextPart on meetup.com and sign up for the event that way. You can find TextPart also on Facebook, TextPart Paranormal. We have links on our Facebook page as well to the event. What we're really going to do is we're going to have dinner from 6:30 to probably 8. Then we're going to break up into two groups and do a 1 hour investigation with the first group, and the second group will do a little 1 hour ghost tour around downtown McKinney, and then we'll swap and do the other swap groups and do it again. So it's going to be a fun event. We've still got some spots left, but they are filling up.
The closer it gets, the more it's going to fill up.
The closer it gets, the more it's filling up. So if you want to attend, definitely check us out and get signed up before those spots are all filled.
And if you want to come out and pester me and Deegan, we're going to be there on the 26th. So me and us will be out there hanging out on the 26th and seeing what that's all about. You guys can find that information. If you can't find TextPart, You can find Jason on the NPS page, or you can even message us on the DNS page, and we'll get you in touch with TextPro. So, all right. Well, I'm going to thank the sponsors, Jason, and then we're going to get ready for NPS Focus.
All right.
So, Eric, if you're ready, we want to give a shout out to Paranologies. We were just talking about the TriCam. Diva can't wait to get her new one. It can't come fast enough. So a big holler out to Jeremy for Paranologies. Scott Frederick, who we have actually been visiting back and forth with and stealing, I use that loosely because I have permission, but borrowing his pictures for some stuff coming up with Endeavor. So you guys will start seeing a lot more of his graphics on NPS. We want to give a huge shout out to Blessed Bee. You guys check them out at blessedbee.cc. Remember, it's .cc. They've got some wonderful, wonderful things going on over there, so check that out. And then we also want to give a huge shout out to Front Range Ghost Shop, and we appreciate their support as well. Go out there and check out their equipment and get your stuff from them. So until next week, you guys stay safe. Have a great investigation. We'll wrap up with the client reveal next week. We'll wrap up the whole procedure, and then we're going to go start investigating. So I'll see you guys here in a little bit on NPS Focus, but you guys have a great week.